Hello, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to Masterful Chats. Masterful Chats are short, concise, clarifying conversations designed to uplift, empower, and inspire you as you move forward on your spiritual path and in your life journey. And today's chat is a topic that a current subscriber requested. And so, Heike, this is for you. I'm going to be speaking and chatting about the chaos that's going on in the world and the patriarchy. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an information synthesizer, a mystical scholar, and an intuitive. And I believe with my entire heart and my whole being that we are all children of God. We are each known and loved completely, totally, and beyond measure. And I'd like to ask you to please like, subscribe, share. It'll really help grow the channel. And please remember to stay to the end of the video because I will be offering you a spiritual tip to move through this day with more ease and grace and peace. And Henry has made his appearance. I don't know if you heard that mew, but he's around, so just be aware. You may be seeing what I call the fluffy dude. Get another camera shot. So let's talk about why all the chaos is occurring a little bit more in depth than I have in previous Masterful Chats. Approximately 6,000 years ago, or 4,000 BCE, was the beginning of the current patriarchal culture. That is a culture that is dominated primarily by the masculine. And the key word in that is dominance. And without a balance of the feminine, which is co-creative, or vice versa, if you have a completely matriarchal culture without a balance of the masculine, the energies get out of whack. As with every person, each of us has both masculine and feminine energies within us. Men and women all carry within their bodies and their energetic systems both masculine and feminine energy. We can recognize within ourselves if we don't have the drive and the initiative and the planning that we may not be able to get things done. Those are more masculine traits, where the feminine is pure potential and creativity. And without that, we're not going to be able to create and to dream. Another way of looking at it is that, the masculine is more left brain, the feminine is more right brained. And the more that we can meld those as human beings in ourselves, the more that will be mirrored in the culture externally. But I digress. Let's go back to approximately 6,000 years ago. That was the beginning of some new technologies and a new agrarian culture, and things began to be more segmented. Prior to that, there was a worshiping of the goddess culture and of goddesses. The current patriarchal system, the male is viewed as being more important and more valuable. There have been women, there have been exceptions, of course, throughout history, but primarily the person in a male body has been viewed as the most important to the society at large. And women, for a long time, or the feminine, I should say, were placed in supportive roles. I'm not here to argue in any way right, wrong, good, bad, but this is history. And if you look at churches where, for example, in the Catholic Church, men can be priests, but women cannot. They're only nuns. If you look in Islamic culture, the same thing. The mullahs are men. They're not women. And even in Judaism, the rabbis are men. As far as historically, there are exceptions today in many of the branches of the churches that have allowed women to step up and serve in other areas. But what happens in a culture when either the masculine is in dominance or the feminine is in dominance is that they become very, very out of balance. And the patriarchy, or the patriarchal culture, which has been to dominate, to control. And so when things are this out of balance, as they have been, they need to change. Approximately 6,000 years ago, when the current patriarchal cycle began, fast forward to the age of Aries, and in that we had the rise of the Roman Empire. Jesus' birth heralded the age of Pisces. And rather than Aries giving way, what we've come to see is weaponized religion coupled with the god of war. And it was dominion over the earth, dominion over people. It's all about control. So in the current patriarchal system, when we look outside and we see the chaos, we're seeing people in positions of power, and they can be in male bodies or in female bodies. It really doesn't matter. Either can be heavily invested in the current system. But when an entire system becomes very dominant to the detriment of many, many people in the society and the culture, the universe, nature, will always self-correct. And that is what we are seeing now. We are basically seeing a self-correction of the patriarchal system, where greed is being exposed, not only by institutions, but by individuals, where we're seeing people who are strictly in positions of power for the power and the money. They're not interested in helping others. They're not interested in governing. It's all about them, and it's all about what they can get. And I think the one thing that strikes me so much about the current state of affairs is the cruelty. The fact that vast groups of people have been demonized and viewed as being less valuable and less worthy. And from my experience with the Creator, with God, that's not how they feel. That's not how he or she feels. Every soul is valuable. Every human being has the same value. And as I've said before, all of this needs to come out to be healed. And it is very disruptive, and it can be very difficult on the heart. The good news is that if each one of us does the work, if each one of us heals ourselves and looks inside and sees where we may have baggage, or we have beliefs that we haven't questioned, or we find ourselves demonizing others or projecting our fear onto some other person or group of people, that we stop and we think and we lovingly question ourselves. So as the outer world is reconfigured, as the outer world is demolishing itself, know that there is a new world building, a world that works for everyone. The ones that are the loudest today, the ones that are screaming to the treetops, are those that are most in danger of losing their power and their status and their prestige. Be as neutral as you can. Stay away from the news. Don't watch it on a continual basis. If they can get you hooked and frightened, you potentially are going to come back a lot more than if you say, okay, well, I heard that and that's enough and I can go on to something else. So just be aware. Look for balance within yourself, balancing the masculine and the feminine. It's interesting that the cultures that have been most resilient are not the ones that have dominated and controlled and overrun others. It's those that have been most adaptable. And that is where the feminine, the matriarchal, comes in. It's very co-creative and it's very cooperative. Whereas an out of balance masculine or patriarchal culture is very dominating and control oriented. So the world is moving into co-cooperation and co-creation. So I'd like to say thank you for being here with me today. And as promised, I'd like to offer you a spiritual tip. I think we all at times can say, well, what made that person act that way? Or why are they behaving like that? Or what's their issue? In kind of a judgy way. I remind myself that everyone has their own path and that my job is my path and that I'm here to respect others. So the only person that I question and the only person I compare myself to is myself. I look back and I say, well, where was I 5 years ago or 4 years ago or 3 years ago? As long as I'm growing that way and I'm moving forward in my life, then I'm doing my job. Bring it home. Stay with yourself. The only person you compare yourself to is you. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you for being here with me today. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. I'm in the double digits and I'm thrilled. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It means a lot to me and I appreciate you. And wherever you're at in the world, thank you for being here with me today. Until we chat again, blessings.